Hey, hello, and how are you? I'm Will Robinson Smith, your host of Old, New, and Now Playing, joining you again this week for another trailer reaction, and we've got another live-action animated hybrid in what is hopefully going to be one of the first good video game movies coming out later this year. Sonic the Hedgehog, obviously for Sega fans, Sonic was a huge character, probably a large part of your childhood. Somewhat of a part of mine. I remember playing some of the Sonic games, not tons of them. I remember, when they went from being, flat and essentially two-dimensional to, when you were just racing through the game to, more challenges and interactions with Sonic. It wasn't like the game I played most, but it was definitely a fun one that I really enjoyed growing up. And so now we've got Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. Obviously, there have been television adaptations of Sonic, I believe. I think he was probably adapted into a comic at some point, but don't quote me on that. If I'm right, though, or if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But I know there was a TV show because I watched some of it when it was on WB, I want to say. Again, asterisk, maybe wrong about that. But there was a cartoon. I think there might have been actually 2 cartoons. Anyway, back to the movie. So this is, going to be an interesting film for a couple of reasons. And let's start with talking about just the cast very briefly because one of Sonic's main villains is Dr. Robotnik, and the guy they have, I don't know if he's just voicing Dr. Robotnik or if he's also going to be kind of more animated like Sonic, but Jim Carrey is playing Dr. Robotnik, so nice to see him coming back to the film, to the film world. Again, very curious to see if he's going to be animated or not. Hopefully we'll see a little bit in the trailer here. A couple of other interesting voice and cast members. You've got Tika Sumpter, who's been in a couple things recently. I really know her from South Side with You, the sort of beginning of the Barack Obama, Michelle Robinson relationship before they became married, their first date in Chicago. Nice little film. If you haven't seen it, go look it up, and you can watch my review of it right up here. But, so you've got Tika Sumpter in it, and you've got Ben Schwartz playing Sonic, or doing the voice of Sonic. Obviously, you would know him from House of Lies. He was also in Parks and Rec, so, good comedic chops. The thing that I found, interesting, though, about this, about the folks that are behind and around the camera here is the director. It's a guy named Jeff Fowler, and you can see him right here, and this will essentially be, well, not essentially, this will be his first major motion picture as far as like a full-length feature. And so you might be wondering, okay, so you've got this property that is beloved by a lot of people in Sonic the Hedgehog. There are a lot of great animation directors out there and people that have been around the space and really know it, in their bones. And then you decide to bring in a guy like Jeff Fowler, whose other really notable work is an animated short called Go for Broke. And it's one that I was not familiar with it until I was doing a little bit of research for this reaction. Came out in 2004. It was a G-rated short. However, it's noteworthy because it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Short. So, while the mainstream, including me, moviegoers might not necessarily know his name and know what he can do. Clearly, you've got a guy who is able to craft a short animated feature that, not only was well received by his peers, but also, got right up, knocking on the door of getting him some Oscar gold. So you've got an Oscar-nominated guy who brought this short, Go for Broke, which now I'm very curious to look it up. So if you have seen Go for Broke, let me know in the comment section below, because as of the recording, I haven't, but now I'm very curious to go seek it out. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look. This is the first official trailer for Sonic, clocking in at 2 minutes and 46 seconds. So good, decent length trailer. So let's see what we've got here. Of course, you got the little coin.
What the?
First is electrified, I guess. I like the reset on the Paramount logo. A lot of shoes.
Gotta go fast. 20 minutes ago, an energy surge knocked out power across the entire Pacific Northwest. This needs someone who can figure out exactly what we're dealing with.
You're not suggesting who I think you're suggesting.
We have no choice.
What the?
There he is.
Are you in charge here?
Yes, I am.
Nope!
I'm
Wrong. I'm in charge.
Allow me to clarify. In a sequentially ranked hierarchy based on level of critical importance, the disparity between us is too vast to quantify. Agent Stone?
The doctor thinks you're basic.
Listen, pal. I don't know if you realize who...
I'm sorry, Major. What was your name?
Benny.
Nobody cares. SFPD. Meow.
I probably have that same reaction too.
Okay, pal, I want answers. Basically, it looks like I'm gonna have to save your planet.
We're gonna come back to the look of Sonic.
Oh, is that all you got?
No, but thank you for asking.
Uh-oh.
Whatever this creature is, our job is to secure it, neutralize it, see what makes it tick.
Oh, interesting. Rings are portals? That's Genesis.
Look at this. I took 9 million steps today.
Stay in there and be quiet.
How much longer? I can't breathe in
Oh,
here.
it's Tika Sumter.
Do you have your child in that bag?
No. I mean, yes, it's a child, but it's not mine.
It's not your child.
Smells like body spray in an old ham sandwich.
Okay, so you've got that last little shot where Dr. Robotnik, who I believe is nicknamed, wasn't he Dr. I mean, kind of looked like Dr. Eggman, in that last shot. It was kind of cool to see like that video game style costume of his lately. So, okay, I have a lot of questions with this one, but first we're going to start off with the look of Sonic, which I'm going to guess is going to have a lot of people, up in arms, because it's might not be exactly what you think of. So, okay, in this intro a little bit, where he's lacing up with, some very notable product placement. I didn't quite realize the first time, but you take a look, he's wearing Puma shoes, so okay. So in that first look, when he like looks up at the camera, that feels okay. It looks like the eyes are kind of like proportioned like you would think of with Sonic. But then definitely in like later shots where you take like a hard look at him, especially this later one here, like right before he gets shot in the leg. I don't know, man. Like okay, so just straight up, he's a blue hedgehog. He's not real. This is a construct. It's a weird look, man. Like, I know creating like this style of realish looking animated creatures in movies isn't always gonna fly with everybody. And I mean, I kind of had somewhat of a similar reaction the first time I saw Pikachu in the Detective Pikachu movie trailers. It kind of looks like some of those just looked off to me. And I feel like, there are some creatures that are going to be easier to bring into a live action realm than others. And, when you have someone that has giant eyes like Sonic does in the video games and in other versions of just strictly animation, you're going to be able to get a different aesthetic with him. The body proportions are going to be a little bit different. Maybe just seeing more of this like in the context of the movie, it'll be a little bit better to watch. But like for now, I'm not totally sold on like the look of Sonic's face. But a couple other things that I thought were sort of interesting points in the trailer. So, just about the 2-minute mark right here where you see a giant ring appear. So don't know where the rings come from, if that's something that Sonic generates, or if that's just like an anomaly that occurs in this world. Obviously, rings were a big part of of the Sonic games. It's how you gained points when you finished the course. It's how you made sure you didn't die when you hit an obstacle. You hit something and then, all the rings would start flying out of you. You try to get them back before they disappear again. Here, it looks like the ring is some kind of portal from one plane of existence into another, because they see them falling and they, go through this ring and then they're just suddenly in a farm. So, I don't know if it's going to, like, how these things get generated, if it's like Doctor Strange and you've got the sling rings, then you just, like, create a portal where you need one and it just appears, or if, like, I don't know. That's a question that the movie's going to have to answer, because right now, obviously it's a direct callback to the game, but it just feels weird, so more context is going to be needed on that. So just go ahead and take that, shelve it for now, and we'll deal with that maybe in a second trailer or later on. The other thing, which, I think is can be an issue when you're talking about, like, a character whose superpower is incredible speed, your Flash, Quicksilver, there's a multitude of characters that, you could list that I'm just not thinking of right this second. I'm actually thinking of both the Marvel version of Quicksilver and the Fox version of Quicksilver in the X-Men movies. But, in those cases, they really went out of their way to kind of limit the scope of, like, how often they use their powers, strategically where in the movie those things come up. Like, for example, in the first time we see Quicksilver in the X-Men movie, he comes in, he does his thing, and then they're right away for him to leave, because otherwise he would just be kind of too powerful to have for, like, all these fights. And I feel like this comes up right here near the end of the trailer, where all Dr. Robotnik's machines are, firing at him, and then it goes to this moment where they're just, like, paused, and clearly he's on, like, another speed plane, which obviously, as the opening of this trailer indicated, it can go 760 miles per hour, probably even faster than that. But basically, when he wants to, time can kind of stand still for Sonic. Now, I don't know if that's, like, something he can do all the time, or if they're going to say, like, he needs to gain a certain amount of energy, or, like, I don't know. Somehow, this can't happen all the time, otherwise there would be no threat to Sonic. He would just go into whatever the Sonic speed plane he does, and, just work his way around every danger, and he can just, like, move people out of the harm's way. So, I don't know. Somehow they're going to have to curtail Sonic from being ultra fast all the time. Otherwise, we're not going to feel any sense of danger for Sonic. There's not going to be any sense of impending doom or threat, because if he can just, like, for the purposes of him, stop time, then there are no stakes. Like, for anybody in the movie that he cares about, he can just zippity-doo-dah over there, grab someone, move a bullet, stop all these missiles, or like he does here in the trailer, just do a little, like, hammer motion and just, like, bop around, like, these different things. So, I don't know. The movie's gonna have to figure that out. I'm sure they've thought about that by now, and hopefully they've got a solution for that. Excuse me. The only other thing the only thing I wanted to comment on right now that stood out for me in the trailer, obviously, is Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik. I want to see more of it, but I feel like if the tone of the movie fits, this could be a really fun Jim Carrey character. If he kind of plays it, with the sort of over-the-top, zany, diabolical villain that, is sort of a la, The Mask. If you can find some way to bring some heart to the character while also being kind of zany with it, I think it could be a really fun villain. Right now, as they're just kind of selling it, we're really just getting the zany, and I feel like for a trailer, that works. But I would like to see a little more nuance somewhere in there with Dr. Robotnik and Jim Carrey's interpretation of it. But, I thought for what we've got right now, and kind of the tone that they're seeming to set with this trailer, that it kind of fits. Like, his Dr. Robotnik kind of feels on par with everything. And, so, and just going to this last frame here, where we see him putting on the glasses. Kind of fun that we get to see him look a little more like his animated, video game villain version of himself. I don't know if, like, in that weird sort of giant mushroom space, if we're gonna go full tilt animation and he's gonna be like giant and fat like he is in the games. I don't know. But those are my thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog, the first official trailer that we're getting for this film. What do you think about the trailer, and do you like the looks of Sonic and Dr. Robotnik? Are you down with this tone that they're setting for the movie? Are there things that you wish they would have done that they haven't done yet? And the other one that I'm curious about are, some of the other ancillary characters that are in the Sonic world, guys like Knuckles and Tails and all those other Sonic universe characters. Do you want to see them in this movie? Do you want it just be about Sonic and maybe throw Tails into like an end credit scene? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and as always, I will see you next time.